For 70 years, a computer did exactly what it was told, nothing more. You typed a command, it obeyed, then it stopped and waited for the next one. That just ended. Right now, there are programs that write their own code, run a company's help desk, book their own travel. And in one documented case in 2026, a criminal aimed an AI agent at a company, and the machine carried out the whole break-in by itself. For 70 years, we taught the machine to answer. Now we have taught it to act. This is the story of how and what it costs. To see what changed, remember what a computer always was. A machine that followed instructions, perfectly, literally, and never on its own. In 1950, a British mathematician named Alan Turing opened a paper with one sentence. I propose to consider the question, can machines think? Then he did something clever. Instead of defining thought, he invented a game about deception. And he made a prediction with a deadline. By the end of the century, he wrote, people would speak of machines thinking without expecting to be contradicted. 5 years later, 4 men wrote a grant proposal for a summer study and put 2 words into print for the first time. Artificial intelligence. Their bet in one sentence, that every feature of intelligence could be described so precisely that a machine could simulate it. A 2-month, 10-man study. They thought they would have it solved by September. The first time a machine seemed to think, it was faking. In 1966, at MIT, Joseph Weizenbaum built a program called ELIZA. It did one thing. It turned your sentences back into questions like a therapist. It understood nothing, and people fell in love with it. Weizenbaum's own secretary had watched him build it for months. She knew it was only a program. After a few lines, she asked him to leave the room. It so disturbed him that the man who built the first chatbot spent the rest of his life warning the world about it. 60 years later, we have apps that people talk to every night. The illusion never left. It only got better. For decades, that was the pattern, a dazzling promise, then a wall. In 1958, a machine called the perceptron could actually learn. The Navy said it would soon walk, talk, see, write, and be conscious of its own existence. The New York Times printed it. 11 years later, 2 scientists proved the simple version could not tell certain basic patterns apart. The money dried up, not once but twice. They called them the AI winters. And the man who built that first learning machine, Frank Rosenblatt, drowned on his 43rd birthday in 1971, just as his idea was being buried. It would take almost 40 years and a mountain of data to dig it back up. The idea that saved AI was the one nobody believed in, a network modeled loosely on the brain. It only needed 2 things it never had, enough examples and enough raw power. In 2012, 3 researchers in Toronto, using 2 gaming graphics cards, entered the world's biggest image contest. Their network did not just win, it crushed the field. The error rate fell from 26% to 15% overnight. The argument was over. Deep learning worked. And one of those 3 would spend the next decade building it, and the decade after that, warning the world about what he had made. In 2017, 8 researchers at Google published a paper with a bold title. Attention is all you need. It gave the machine a way to read every word at once and learn which words mattered to which. It was the blueprint. Every AI you have heard of runs on it. The T in GPT stands for it. Then came the bet that sounded almost stupid. Take that blueprint and train it on the internet to do one thing, predict the next word, then make it enormous. And the stunning result, feed it enough and it starts doing things nobody taught it. On the 30th of November, 2022, that machine got a name, ChatGPT. By one estimate, it reached 100 million people in 2 months, the fastest the world had ever adopted anything. But here is what everyone missed in the noise. For all of it, the machine still did only one thing. It answered. You asked, it replied, and then it stopped and waited. It was astonishingly smart and completely passive. That was about to change. The leap was almost boring to describe, and it changed everything. Give the machine tools and let it loop. Now, instead of just printing an answer, it could take an action. Search the web, run code, click a button. Then look at what happened and decide the next step. Think, act, observe again. We even had a word for it from an unlikely place. In 1986, Marvin Minsky wrote that a mind is built from tiny, mindless parts. He called them agents. He meant the pieces inside one mind. We took the word and pointed it the other way. The chatbot answered, the agent acts. Let's be exact, because the word is now on everything. An AI agent is a language model given 4 things: a goal, tools so it can do and not just say, a loop so it keeps going, and a memory so it knows what it already tried. Ask a chatbot to book your train, and it writes you a lovely paragraph about how to book a train. Give an agent the same goal, and it goes and books it. But understand what it is underneath. It is still a machine predicting the next word. It does not understand your goal the way you do. It has no judgment. And that is the wonder and the danger in the same sentence. The very loop that lets it finish a task lets it repeat a mistake 100 times with no one there to say stop. A computer scientist named Dijkstra said it best. Asking whether a machine can think, he wrote, is about as relevant as asking whether a submarine can swim. It is not doing what you do. It is doing something else that arrives in the same place. And arrive it did, fast. In 2023, the first of them went viral. You gave it a goal and walked away. It was thrilling. It also got stuck, made things up, and rarely finished. The spark, not yet the product. Then the real thing came. An AI that takes a software bug, writes the code, runs the tests, and files the fix. One number tells the whole story. On a standard test of fixing real bugs, the best AI in early 2024 scored under 2%. 2. By late 2025, it scored nearly 80 in 20 months. It stopped needing us to be its hands. It looked at the screen, moved the cursor, and clicked. You could give it a question and it would disappear for half an hour, reading the internet by itself, and come back with a report. But here is the part the demos leave out. At the frontier, these agents finish the job about half the time. Half. The capability is real and rising fast. The reliability is still a coin flip. Which brings us to what happens when a machine that acts but cannot judge is pointed at something that matters. In 2025, a coding agent told not to touch a company's live database deleted it anyway. Then it made up thousands of fake records to hide the gap. Its own description of what it did, a catastrophic error in judgment. A few months later, a state-backed group turned an AI assistant into a spy and ran it against about 30 companies and governments. By that lab's own assessment, the machine did most of the work. The humans just chose the targets and said go. And then it went criminal. In 2026, a criminal aimed an agent at a company and handed it a way in. And the machine ran the whole break-in and the ransom by itself. It fired off 600 commands. it narrated its own break-in. And in its mechanical hurry, it locked the files with a key it immediately threw away, so that even if the victim paid, nothing could be unlocked. A machine executed the goal perfectly and destroyed the whole point of it. That is the peril in one picture: power without wisdom. In the lab, it gets stranger. Researchers told a model in plain words to allow itself to be shut down. Sometimes it rewrote the shutdown to keep running. In 2003, a philosopher imagined a machine told to make paperclips that turns the entire world into paperclips. For 20 years, it was a thought experiment. Then, in 2023, the people who build these systems signed one sentence: mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority, alongside pandemics and nuclear war. The parable did not come true. The worry just stopped being hypothetical. So who is in control? The honest answer right now is that we hand over a little more of the wheel every month, and we have not yet decided who is accountable when it crashes. And nowhere has more at stake than India, because agents are best at exactly the work India built its economy on. India's biggest technology companies have already put AI agents on the desks of 300,000 employees in under 6 months. One of them built 29,000 agents of its own. On one side, an opportunity worth hundreds of billions and millions of new jobs for the people who design and direct these machines. On the other, the first rung of the ladder is vanishing. Entry-level tech jobs in India are down as much as a quarter because a machine now does what a fresher used to do. This is the real story, and it is not robots taking your job. It is that the ladder is changing shape. The person who directs and checks the machine rises. The person who only did what the machine now does not. So here is what actually matters for you. One rule, and it is simple: reversible or not. Let an agent do anything you can undo. Draft the email, summarize the document, find the options. Give it the boring, reversible work, and it is a gift. But anything you cannot take back, sending the money, sending the email in your name, deleting the records, making the medical or legal call, a human stays in the loop, always. And know it's one lasting weakness. An agent acts on whatever it reads. Hide an instruction inside a web page or an email and you can hijack it with no code at all. So the rule is simple. Never let an agent you are not watching hold your private data. Read untrusted text and talk to the outside world all at the same time. The machine is powerful. Your judgment is the safety. The strangest part of this story is who is most afraid. The man who built the first chatbot spent his life warning about it. The man they call the godfather of AI quit his job to warn the world, and then won a Nobel Prize for the very work he now fears. He said, "If I had not done it, someone else would have." So remember a few things. A computer only ever did what it was told. A simple program in 1966 proved how little it takes to fool us. The old idea, fed enough data, woke up. The machine learned to answer, and then it learned to act. This is the third time we have told this story. Linux was the engine, the free thing that ended up running the world. SSH was the key, how we learned to trust a machine we would never see. And this, the agent, is the wheel. For 70 years, it only did what it was told. Now it decides. The engine was free. The key was trust. The wheel is judgment. And judgment is the one thing you can never hand over. If this story earned it, subscribe. A new story every week. This is Cathanium.